Welcome to Flick Flops, the podcast where we review critically bad movies so you don't have to.
From box office bombs to straight to streaming duds, we take a deep dive into the films that missed the mark.
Each episode, we'll break down a different movie and give you our honest thoughts on what worked, what didn't, and everything in between.
Whether you're a die-hard movie buff or just looking for a good laugh, we've got you covered.
So grab some popcorn and get ready to join us on a journey through the world of critically bad cinema. This is Flick Flops.
Welcome back to Flick Flops, the podcast that isn't afraid to take on even the most notorious of cinematic failures. Today, we're diving into the world of horror with a look at Children of the Corn 2023, based on the classic Stephen King short story. But is this movie a terrifying reimagining of the original tale, or crop dusting after a dinner of beans and broccoli? Andy? Andy, what?
I didn't know that line
Andy,
was coming.
There you go. That's a little special one for you.
Well played, sir. Children of the Corn 2020. Here it is, 2023. Did I think we would be discussing a new Children of the Corn?
Another. And how many are there? I didn't look it up.
Oh, there's 11.
Too many. 11.
I looked it up.
I didn't even know there was that many. Jeez,
Listen,
I would have guessed 6.
Before we go too far into this, this is a short story by Stephen King, originally written for Penthouse magazine. He then later
Children of the Porn?
Oh, well, it probably started as Children of the Porn. Good. That's a nice one, Gary.
Thanks.
That should be like on a daily joke podcast.
It's a good idea.
Anyway,
where's my rim shot?
I don't know. Okay. So again, this is based on a short story, not even a novel, and it later was printed in Night Shift, the collection of short stories by Stephen King. So, I mean, I'll just dive right into this. I don't know if I'm sure I've read this story. I mean, Gary, you and I went through a King phase. We read a bunch of his stuff.
Yeah. This
book story did not stick out to me that it warranted a movie, let alone the many new movies it would take to necessitate sequels. And 40 years later, they're still making the same movie. And I'm not saying the same good movie. This isn't like Frank Darabont read Rita Hayworth into Shawshank Redemption and said, hey, I got an idea.
Yeah.
I can make this into a blockbuster that will change a cinematic world. It's Children of the Corn. Like, I don't even understand the premise of this movie, and I've seen them. I mean, I don't understand. This movie irritates me. I'm gonna go right.
This is always a good way to start. By the way,
to
I just want to mention I don't recall the story either.
I don't.
And yes, I did go through this. However, I will say the baseline idea of this movie I like. But
you do? What is the baseline? Tell me what you think.
I mean,
because I don't know.
Okay, the baseline of the idea is that. Well, hold on, because the thing is, I don't know.
Let me go to. I'll go to Wikipedia and see what the idea is.
Yeah, I don't know because I don't think what's in this movie is necessarily the. I don't want to tarnish the premise with this movie because I don't feel like the premise that I think was a decent idea.
So real quick, the original 1978 is a story about a couple who end up in an abandoned Nebraska town that is inhabited by a cult of murderous children who worship a demon that lives in the local cornfields.
Right.
That's the premise of a
short
story.
Right there. Yeah. And that, by the way, that's what I like. What I was afraid of saying too much about was because they make it so much more, well, okay, where to start? Because there's so much to say about it.
I don't care about spoilers. I'm going to go ahead and tell you.
No, I don't either. Because there's nothing to spoil.
Spoiled.
Yeah, there's nothing to spoil. That's one of the notes I have.
Let me do Rotten Tomatoes to give people an idea.
Okay, do that. And I know it's a little bit lengthy, but I do have one of the opening, which I call the corny beginning rim shot. I have a 1 minute 21 second scene of it from the beginning of the film that I think helps set up a few of the things that I just want to talk about. But let's talk Rotten Tomatoes first.
Rotten Tomatoes are our go-to for reference. The critics have this film at 12%.
High.
12. If you're
I
talking
don't want to
football,
spoil our ending. I don't want to spoil our ending, but I say that's high.
12. I'm saying 12 as in 1, 2. The great Roger Staubach and Terry Bradshaw wore 12.
Uh,
Um, the audience was a little more generous. They went as high as 38%, and I'm saying generous with this film.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But if you need to play your and real quick, it's made to date as of March 31st when I was finishing up the research on this film. To date, it had made a whopping $540,927. Now I do
500.
believe it was on a limited run, but that's
Can you give me the number real quick again?
540,927.
Okay, I just want to state because you started with 500. I was going to say $540 would be too much for this movie to make. Okay.
548 too
Hey,
much.
let me throw this in here real quick.
Go.
Take a look at this scene that's from the very beginning of the moment.
Cool.
Look at this stuff. How many times did I try and warn them? It's stuff that they put into this ground without even barely reading a label.
Ever notice how the words maze and maze, like a corn maze and a puzzle, are the same? A maze of maze? Weird, huh?
Sure, amazing.
Party hard.
I can't watch the whole minute and
Wait a
20
minute.
seconds.
Hold on now. Did he just say, did you ever notice the word maze and maze? Like a corn maze and maze are the same, like a puzzle? Is he saying the word M-A-Z-E and the word M-A-Z-E are the same?
I think the implication is the Indian word for maze, I think, is the attempt at cleverness in that moment.
But they're not the same. A maze is a maze. Maze is corn.
Yeah. Well, a corn maze, you do a maze in the corn during Halloween
but you would have but the word corn maze would be M-A-Z-E.
Right.
Unless you're
right.
being punny and you want a corn maze. But he
Well,
wasn't going there.
No, that's what the intention of this of that moment was. It just was poorly written.
How about the 17-year-old girl who's so
She keeps telling
concerned
them
with
she keeps
all of the how many times have I told these people about what they're putting into the ground? Okay,
So,
Greta, thank you for your
yes, so
saving the planet.
yeah. So and that's why I wanted to play part of that.
My
I couldn't
face is
watch the
getting
whole
flushed,
thing.
Gary. I'm getting irritated.
That scene runs on a little longer and it does mention a little bit more of the there's mold and stuff in the dust that's on the crops and blah blah blah, and there's this just ad nauseum. I couldn't even watch the whole thing again, but it was a good setup for what I thought the movie was going to be, and I believed that the movie was going to preach at me, which already put my hackles up.
Right. And I think it kind of still did, but it didn't beat you with it.
Now, here's the thing, and this is where I would disagree with you on that point.
Okay.
I think the movie sets up a few things that you think it's going a particular direction and it totally abandons it to nonsense. There's that there's the awful voting scene.
Oh, hang on.
With the adults come together to vote on whether they're going to turn their crops over to the government or whatever, essentially, and take money so that they don't plant crops, which is something I know that's something that's going on. And I know that there's things that were brought up in the movie that could potentially be preachy, but I felt like it was half-baked ideas to start with, and it never followed through on any of it. Every time something was kind of brought up that seemed like it was going to be kind of like, oh, this could be interesting, it doesn't go there.
Right.
The entire movie is that way, to where it's just a confusing mess, and nobody behaves the way that you would at the ages that they are. Nobody behaves that they did. The adults act. Can I just show another scene?
Well, real quick before you do it, if I was to show a picture of somebody, of two people that are going to lead a murderous cult, Which of the two? Now, keep in mind, he's holding an axe. This guy, you can't see it. Oh, he's not. He doesn't. See that thing behind me?
It's over on
He
the.
grabs this little Sharpie
Yeah.
thing here, this little machete. Which one of these two would lead a murderous cult of
We should
children?
watch that movie.
Yeah,
Machete.
really, we should watch Machete. I'm gonna give you a hint. It's not this guy. It's this child, this little cherub-looking child, is going to lead a group of children on a murderous rampage. I'm sorry, I would tell her to shut up and push her down.
Well, yeah, and probably the kid too, but yeah, okay, so right off the bat, hackles raised. Oh my gosh, they're gonna preach at me. Oh wait, they're not, because they don't even mention that again.
Yeah.
A lot of stupid stuff like that. But then we get this scene, which is still near the beginning, but
all right, we're doing this. Everyone's voted.
Except everyone hasn't voted. Not us. The children.
us kids that aren't even 18.
They're right. It's the little ones' futures too.
Yeah, they don't even get a vote. A say?
Because Bo is right. We have a choice.
All right, enough horse shit! Children, having a say. I thought 17-year-olds mouthing off was bad enough. Stupid kids! Little kids! Voting!
God damn.
Little kids, go back to your doll, baby kid.
God, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's really bad.
I mean, first of all, I agree. The kids should shut their damn mouths. They had no say in this. Shut up. And again, who elected her leader?
She elected herself,
look,
dude. I don't know how everybody follows her. The kids all follow her.
Like, you look around a playground and they're all going to listen to this one?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, the adults don't behave like adults in it. I thought that was ridiculous. The kids definitely don't behave like kids in it. Because even there's this scene, it's still near the beginning. That's shortly after the first scene I played. Where I was confused at first. Did you think that the setup was that the kids were already taking over the town? Did it like somehow jumped ahead because they got this kid walking the plank?
Yeah.
At this tower, like next to a windmill or some crap. I don't even remember anymore, but they got this kid walking out and that he's getting punished for something. And all these kids are like, push him and all this stuff. Like,
set the corn on fire. I'm like, what the hell? And
yeah.
just, again, it makes a leap. Nowhere is it, does it explode. There's no turn where you see the uprising. It's 1 minute. The adults are voting on a way to save their asses by doing what the government to pay them not to farm. Got it. Makes sense. You got to do what you got to do. 2, hey, let's have a mock trial. For what? First of all, idiot. Second of all, let's just go handcuff dad and make him go. And he goes, all right, well, it sounds like a good idea. You kid's pretty smart. It just goes along with it. Gary, if your daughter came and said, Dad, I want to handcuff you and take you to a mock trial, you'd be like, get the hell out of my room. Go get back on your iPad or whatever it is you play with. You kidder! It just, God,
get back to your dough, babies.
And then, I mean, like, how do these kids? I'm assuming this is in the country because it's a farmland. I'm assuming some of these people probably have guns because, again, it's the country and that's kind of that demographic. Yet all these kids round up all the adults and get them into jail. Like there's no pushback.
Right.
Never once like grab a kid and go, listen here, Jock, pull your pants up a little bit and ruffle some feathers. Just everybody goes into the jail cell. Fuck.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh, I need to take a pill. Blood pressure's up.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I will say this. I thought the movie was shot well. Some of the scenes were fantastic. These overhead scenes that people are doing. I mean, that this thing was, okay to watch, but storyline dumb. I don't buy that this child could do all this.
Yeah, I don't.
And then I have a scene at the end that I needed to bring up when you're ready to talk about the end.
Okay. So one of the things, okay, so you mentioned the way it's shot. There are some very interesting shots that made me wonder what this guy has done before.
Right.
I don't know. I should, again, we should be more prepared on this.
Kurt Wimmer.
Kurt Wimmer.
I should probably look real quick while you're talking.
Yeah, I did find there was some nice overhead shots. There were some interesting setups with the way certain parts were filmed. But I believe he also wrote it, if I'm not mistaken. Totally could be wrong about that. So here we talked about Rotten Tomatoes. Let me bring up something. I did see one that kind of said the one thing that there's an absolutely terrible. None of the adults put up any resistance at all. Terrible story and acting. Yeah. Somebody put this should be called Problem Child 4. Eden meets Killer Groot in a cornfield. True. I would call it Children of the Corn. Would you say this was number 11?
Yeah, there's 11.
Children of the Corn 11. The crop dusting.
That would at least make it funny.
Yeah. Somebody actually said it was a good movie. I don't know what they watched.
They're wrong.
But the one that I saw is and this is from a Craig L on Rotten Tomatoes. This is an audience, so shout out to Craig L. I've never written a review in my life. I learned how so that I could spread the word as fast as I could that no person should watch a movie this bad. I know it probably won't work, but in good conscience, I had to try. And I think he sums up he sums up what we're trying to do with this. Stay away from this movie. That's another review that I agree with. There's a lot I agree with. The dialogue was bad. The children were bad. That was the idea.
Yes,
the children were bad.
All of
Didn't know the acting was going to be bad. Yeah, Kurt Wimmer. What do you got on?
All right. So while you were yammering on, this is going to surprise you, Gary.
Will it?
It will. So first of all, I'm looking at. Let's see. Hang on. Let me just talk from it. 1, 2, 3.
Testing. Oh, you're counting. 9, 13, 12, 11, 9, 6, 4, 12.
So
11.
On Rotten Tomatoes, he has 16 films to his credit.
Okay.
And I'll go over some of these. 3 are fresh. 13 are rotten. So let me tell you where we first know this guy from as a writer.
So not a winner.
No,
but it's Wimmer.
But a Wimmer. I'm gonna go. So the first thing we know by this guy, 1991, he was the screenwriter for a little-known film called Point Break.
Interesting.
So he can write. He also was the writer for the adaptation of Michael Crichton's Sphere. Okay. He was the screenwriter for the Thomas Crown Affair.
Okay.
He was also the screenwriter and producer for Law Abiding Citizen. He also
I don't know what that is off the top of my head.
It's Samuel L. Jackson gets mad, takes things out on people, I think that's the one it is. Anyway, he was the screenwriter for the remake of Total Recall.
Okay.
He was also the screenwriter and producer for the remake of Point Break.
Interesting.
So,
he copied himself.
Anyway, that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, I did not like the Total Recall remake.
I didn't even watch it because you got what you want. Go ahead and give the people there.
Yeah. I know. How can you can't.
How do you write
that?
How do you
redo
make
that? You can't do that. You can't. Yeah.
The answer is none. None better. Here are the children of the corn.
Yes.
Here is the leader of the children.
Hey, you know what? I do want to point out one. I mean, you mentioned some of the directing. I'll give you that. There was some nicely shot things here and there. Most of it was what I would call like the setup shots, or stuff like that. Yeah. We don't know technical jargon around here. We're
big shots, the big boomy shots.
We're dumb couch potatoes watching movies, but yeah, the setup shots. There were some interesting ones. Most of the film, nothing really stood out for the major scenes of it for me. But I will say, I did think that the actress who played the evil little girl
Yeah.
I thought she did a really good job. I don't buy the character, but I thought that
Exactly.
she was a great actress.
She did fine. I think a lot of the acting was fine. I just do not buy in any scenario that kid would get people to do things.
Right.
You know, in
Right.
contrast to, let's see if I can find this other picture I was looking for. In contrast to this guy.
Right.
That guy
He's-
makes me nervous. Even if I was a fellow child, I'm like, I don't know, man. I think that guy can.
Now, is he the one from the original
I believe
movie
that's the
with Peter
original
Horton and
I believe that's original Malachi there.
Yeah. Yeah, that he would. I'd be getting back in the Buick LeSabre and driving right back out of town.
We got enough gas to get down the pike a few miles.
We'll just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, the things that irritate me is, and I don't know if I'm going to reread the story because I need to know if this was King's idea or if this was the filmmaker's interpretation of what King had said. But the giant corn monster, and I won't spoil by showing it to you. But what that this is it? Like, where does this come from?
Yeah. Well, you could say there's a lot of King stuff that does that kind of thing towards the end.
I guess,
but here's how I take it. So you've got, and I know this isn't King, this is Peter Benchley or whatever, but you got Jaws with the whole being nervous about going in the water, and I took the whole original Children of the Corn idea as being like, I'm afraid to drive through.
I'm afraid to go into the corn.
I don't want to go. I could see that being scary. You know what I mean? Which is why I think the premise, again, to go back to that little one sentence premise you had, I think it's a decent premise for a horror movie. You know, you get trapped in this town, and the town's been taken over by these kids that are basically killing all the adults for the demon in the corn. I could see that, from an outside perspective going in being kind of haunting, right? You're not with me on this, but I'm just saying, as a premise for, look, dude, you liked Winnie the Pooh. I'm not trying to give. I'm not trying to give any.
I'll back off.
I'm not trying to give any props to this movie at all. In fact, this is what my point is. There's no mystery to this movie because there's no outside perspective. Everything is all from within the town and from within the kids. There's no person coming to the town,
right,
and dealing with whatever's gone on in this town and discovering what happened. It's all there, and it's all somehow just happens, which makes it's almost like,
it's like in a vacuum.
Hey, let's make this movie. This is what happened before the children took over the town or whatever, and it does not work. There's no suspense. I didn't find it suspenseful or terrifying. I laughed at it most of the time, and the rest of the time I was bored and was waiting for the movie to be over.
You should have called.
I made a few notes, and that was it. I was like, I'm going to play freaking Toon Blast on my phone or something for the rest of this movie.
I was job
boring.
hunting during the movie. It's like indeed.
It becomes background noise.
You should have changed yours to Children of the Boar.
Right.
If I'd have thought ahead, I would have done that.
Right, because that didn't
plays
riff on that one already.
That plays so well.
Yeah. I should have. I'm surprised you didn't make one and put a little. Where am I at? Put a little Y right after the end. Why? It's corny. Me.
Yeah.
Me. Kids, don't lock us up and gas us.
I mean, I got another scene pop. So this scene here. Do you remember?
Yeah.
This little girl made these kids gut this. Where's it at? I'm not like Ira Joe Fisher.
Here, let me point. It's we knew one of us could do this.
This pig
this way,
and wash themselves with blood, and then
they're painting
blood into
the blood on the corn.
The corn roots.
What? By the way, where did that big hole in the ground come from?
I don't know. I mean, there's
none of it makes sense. It's hard to even make fun of this movie because there's just no. It was so dull.
It does it itself. You don't need two guys sitting in a basement talking about this movie to know.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
When you keep in mind, King has produced some great stuff. Some of the films made of his movies or his books have been just legend. I mean, Stand By Me is a Stephen King movie. The Green Mile is Stephen King. Shawshank Redemption. They only made one of these classically great Stephen King stories.
Yeah.
This is Children of the Corn, a short story and a compilation book, and they've made 11, and none of them are any good. Like, maybe the story just isn't. I know King will let you make anything. He'll sell you the rights. He doesn't care. He wants to help people. But for the love of God, at least make it good.
We need to start a segment towards the end of this that we say, instead of watching this movie, go watch this movie to get a better, whatever. I would say on this particular one, watch any of the movies that you just mentioned to see a good King movie that's.
Listen, you want to watch a better movie about corn, watch Signs.
not without its problems, by the way, but
I would much rather watch
a much more entertaining
M.
movie
Night Shyamalan's
by far,
interpretation of a corn gone mad than this piece of corn stuck in my turd. There, I said it. This is like eating Chipotle.
Hold up.
And
Did you need me to make a different rating graphic for you in this particular?
On the fly, Gary, that'd be the greatest.
I can't. I don't have the time. I can't open Photoshop at this moment. Drop a little corn. This was not worth the corn in my 5 turds I gave it.
That's all.
All right, so
I have nothing to add. I can't make you not watch this anymore.
Yeah, I will tell you, my notes were the brother and the sister at the beginning. The boy's acting was terrible. I didn't mention it, but I am now. Good Lord, I hate being preached to. This is a thinly veiled save the world allegory. That's my confusion at the beginning of thinking that's what the movie was going to be.
Yeah.
And like I said, it abandoned that quite early.
Yes.
And I don't even know if they talked about it again. And then I put dumb adults, smart kids, geez Louise. And then I think I checked out of the rest of the movie and literally was like played Toon Blast and what's going on again? Oh yeah, this is. Yeah. I'm not even gonna play the other clip that I pulled just to show the girls acting. Yeah. The only thing that stood out to me was that young girl's acting, because she was menacing. With the way she spoke,
but I just don't buy her.
But I don't buy. Well, I don't. But again, that's the thing that's so tough to say. It's like, and another reason I'm not playing it. She's a great actress, but she falls flat because of the premise.
Yeah.
But the whole movie falls flat because of
the premise.
Again, I think the premise is, from the outside coming in, it's scarier. But there's none of that.
I think
it's all everybody that's in the town. It's dumb.
Gary, we truly need to do this. We joke about it all the time, but we should put out the challenge to anybody that listens, and you and I included, to see if we could produce a better script. I mean, it won't get made.
Some of these, I don't think it's hard.
But it's like, I promise you, like, we could probably, you and I could hash out a better movie in one long night session with some Angelo's pizza.
You can convert Shinkles Ridge to a cornfield.
Shinkles cornfield.
And you got something going.
Nice pull there.
Thank you. Without further ado, I would like to just go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead and give you mine real quick. And just, I'm not afraid.
I've actually just changed mine as,
I'm not afraid to just like, there is zero reason to watch this movie.
Yeah.
I can't even say that the girls' acting makes it work. Look, I can't even say it. It's so bad. Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
No, just don't even bother.
Well, this might surprise you, Gary, but I'm going to go with,
oh, hey, shocker.
I'm like you. God, it was
a chore.
It was. This was actual work. I did not ask Teresa to sit through this because I knew she wouldn't. She doesn't like horror films. So she was interested in Cocaine Bear, which we talked about in a previous episode. She wanted to watch it, and at the end, she's like, well, that was stupid. That was her comment. It's like, it was.
Hence the reason it's on the list.
But yeah, this movie, I got a little excited because you and I both are horror fans. We're both King fans, and I can enjoy a bad horror movie.
Yeah.
I can't enjoy this
If they
one.
give me something.
I can't enjoy
I mentioned
this.
it before on something previous where I said there's like 3 key components. And I think if you can hit 2 of those out of the 3,
Yeah.
you kind of entertained me.
Yeah.
Writing, directing, plot, or story, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
Get 2 of those and I'm probably going to like it. I'm not that hard to entertain, which you'd probably be surprised at by most of my ratings on most of the films we've done so far. But the truth is I usually am entertained by stuff.
Yeah.
But we are dragging the bottom of the barrel on a lot of the stuff we're watching. So
yeah. I mean, that's the premise of the show. We are going for the bad. We're not going for the the cultish. Okay, that movie's. I get where people don't like it. These movies are not good. And we find some that we do enjoy, but I think that's just a personal thing. Overall, I can see why society would not enjoy these movies. I mean, again, I think it gets back to the Walmartization of society. Is if you keep demanding crap product from Hollywood, they will deliver.
Yeah,
they will not go out of the way to write a better screenplay and produce a better movie because they don't have to, because we keep giving them our money. If you stop, now this one didn't make a lot of money, but if you stop supporting this crap, maybe. Again, King's written other stories. You can go get another story. There's actually other horror writers too. He isn't the only guy who wrote a horror film, a horror book.
Yeah.
Dean Koontz has a lot of books out there.
I have a suggestion for you on that front, by the way, but we can take that off. We can discuss that later. I don't want to bore everybody with that.
Bomb and Phantoms, yo.
Yeah. Anyway,
all right.
I mean, that's all I've got. Like I said, I got 3 lines and I was halfway out of them. I was I was a toe into the movie to begin with, and then out by 10, 15 minutes. This movie, garbage.
Turdsville Station.
5 turds, 5 TPs. If you have a suggestion, you want to see us tear up a movie or tell you whether there's anything worthwhile out of a movie or not, send your suggestions to Flicks at Flick.
Yeah, go. You got it. Believe in yourself, Gary.
Take 2.
Flick Flops.
Flicks at flickflopspodcast.com. That's Flicks at flickflopspodcast.com.
Hello, and welcome to Shitty Food Movies.
If you hate this movie, press 1.
If you hate this movie a lot, press 1 harder.
Beep, beep. All right, man. Well, let's get out of here. We'll look forward to reviewing more films for you soon. Send in your suggestions. Give us a like and subscribe. My daughter said, don't ever say that. So like and subscribe, press that bell for notification.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
That's what we want to do.
But join us next time.
Tell your friend.
Episode of Flick Flops. Thanks for joining us, people. We'll catch you next time. Andy always gets to dance because I'm manning the machine. I don't get to do my little